Warning! The following live webcast might contain content that some people find crude, vulgar, or objectionable. When watching this program, please make sure the room is well lit and do not sit too close to the screen. If you're uptight, easily offended, or lacking a sense of humor, please stop watching right now and leave the internet. Now it's time for Mike Live.
What is this foolishness?
How many dreams can you shape in a minute, an hour?
The kind of clean you like best.
Lost 3 of my teeth, too. All right, so you lost. Next time you win.
Steamy, hot, hearty, delicious, invigorating.
Folks at home, Pete Gluszek here filling in for Ike on Ike Live. We're right in the heart of winter season. It's snowing outside, but fishing has begun. It has begun all over the country. It's begun especially out on the Pro Tour, man. There's all kinds of action. MLF, Bassmaster Elites, FLW Tour, Opens, Costas, it's all happening right now, mainly in Florida right now. We're going to be talking about that stuff tonight. I want to let you guys all know we're brought to you by Mystery Tackle Box. It's like Christmas every month. You get lots of great stuff. Want to remind you guys, chime in with your questions, call in. We use your stuff on the air. We're going to give you an Ike Live gift pack, and that's going to include a Mystery Tackle Box. We are also brought to you by my co-host tonight is Dave Borodziuk. It's good to have you here with us, buddy.
That's what you should have put up for my name, bro. I was Borodziuk.
Borodziuk?
Yeah. Borodziuk, Pete. 20 years now.
Borodziuk.
That's all right. And tonight, Flambeau, guys. Z-Rust promo code Ike Live for 20% off. Also go to www.flambeauoutdoors.com. There's a new storage system for kayaks under the seat.
Yeah.
Go on there and check it out. There's some tutorials, what it looks like. It's really cool. Also brought to you by Liquid Mayhem. Use the promo code IkeLive25 for 25% everything on the Liquid Mayhem site. Also brought to you by Hobie Kayaks. Again, nothing will fit underneath that Hobie seat better than some Flambeau. All right, check that stuff out. TH Marine, all their great products, all the products that are not going to make the boat build that Brian's having. Oh, no, actually, I'll stand corrected on that. We'll talk about that later.
That's right. The boat build started, cuz.
Brought to you by Bass University. Try BU for 10 days free. Access over 400 long-form teaching seminars.
That 10 days free ends on Wednesday night midnight.
Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Very informative. Brought to you by Real Snot. Improves casting distance, kills line memory, helps keep your guides free from ice this time of the year. Very important, unless you leave it outside overnight like Brian. Big help with fluorocarbon and braided line. Promo code IkeLive25 again for 25% off.
We are also brought to you by Tackle Warehouse. Everybody uses Tackle Warehouse. I used Tackle Warehouse to overnight ship me lures to the Open that I recently fished down on the Harris chain, and I used those lures to catch 5 1-pound fish during the tournament. So thank you, Tackle Warehouse.
Giants.
Hold on, Pete. Let me get you a round of applause for that.
Thank you very much. We worked hard for those. It was a lot of fun. But line cutters, brought to you by Line Cutters. Great little tool. We love them. It can cut braid up to 1 million pounds. It's a really handy thing. Get yourself some line cutters. And we have, I'm looking for the line cutters code, which I don't see there, but we'll put it up for you soon. We're Dr. Squatch soap is soap for men.
It is some serious men's soap. Will kill that swamp ass in 3 or 4 swipes. It's gone, man.
Swipes.
It's not like the soap that your wife's shoving down your throat, the Dove or the guys just get a couple bars.
That was my impression of it. Like it felt like I was single again. And I had the soap that I would have bought like back in the day. What could we get?
If you could,
Irish Spring was like the only cool soap you could get back in the day.
Right.
Now you got some real man soap.
That's
Takes
right.
a layer of skin off.
Yeah, because sometimes regular soap doesn't take it away. This absolutely does. It takes it away.
Yeah, it feels
also,
nice.
Use the code IkeLive20. I'm assuming that gets you 20% off.
That's right.
and don't forget Traeger grills. No more propane flavored meats. They're not going to taste that chemical on there. Nice and smoked, tastes like wood. And if you order some of their gear, I'm wearing one of the winter hats now, warmer than a Carhartt hat. Very nice.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate all you sponsors being with us, supporting the show. Appreciate all you guys supporting our sponsors that allow us to be here. And we've got an amazing show tonight. There's so much going on out in the industry right now. We're going to be talking about it. We want to hear from you guys. We want to know what you guys think about what's happening. MLF came out with their inaugural tournament. It was live. It was exciting. Lots of fines by people that were live. We're gonna be talking about that. You guys might not know about that, but we're gonna be letting you in on that situation. And Bassmasters came out with their live. They went to the St. Johns River and broke all kinds of records with some amazing stuff. It's just a great time to be a fishing fan right now.
And like when you think Florida, you think St. John's, you think where it's located in Florida. It's just not, I don't know, it's not as swampy. It's not like what you think of when you think of southern Florida,
It's different.
Like it's not, it's up in, it starts in Jacksonville and goes all the way down to like almost like, what is that, Daytona.
And that's right. And it's tidal, which makes it very unique. And apparently Rick Clunn is the only one that can win there these days. He's like 72 years old.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Amazing accomplishment. He won it at 69. He won it allegedly at 72. He's probably going to win it at 82.
He's like he's like Gandalf. You know what I mean? He's on how old he is, dude.
He's been around so long. He's just guessing now.
Yeah. Speaking of old, I want to give a shout out to my grandma who just turned 102 last week. Rick Clunn got
Happy
nothing on
birthday,
that.
The
Grammy.
Stockel jeans,
Yeah,
man.
she ain't got no big trophies, but it ain't over yet. So
102 years. Is
102,
she
dude.
still fishing tournaments?
No, she's not.
She's
but-
probably got some trophies, dude, like sock hop trophies, and you know what I mean.
I think the secret to longevity is never redlining the engine.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what I mean. She's just
Nice.
I'll be dead.
yeah. I'm out.
I'm dead.
Almost there.
Nice knowing you.
Well, we are going to have a couple of brothers on the show, Chris and Cory Johnston, which have they set the FLW on fire. They came over to the elites this year, and they both crushed it this week. And we're gonna be talking to those guys. They're from Canada. They practice a different way. They compete a different way, but it's just success after success.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Can't wait to talk to those guys, learn more about them and what they're doing out there on tour. So that's what's going on at tonight's show. Stay with us, guys. It's going to be great. I want to give a shout out to the emergency personnel, to the police, and a special shout out to the military. A good friend of ours, Mark McEwen. I said Mark McEwen's Mark McCowan. I'm butchering everybody's name, but he promoted the Special Ops survivors. This is for the Gold Star families of the Special Ops forces, and he promoted that. We got involved with him. He was one of a kind. He was somebody that you'll never forget once you meet him. He brought smiles in the room. He brought energy everywhere he goes, and we lost him a couple years ago, and we have. In memorandum of Mark McCowan, right here, a special
Shrine.
Special Ops shrine that we're going to be getting a new studio for Ike Live. This is going to be coming with us, of course.
A fact.
But I just want to shout out, give a shout out to his family and all of his brothers that work for that cause. It's just such an amazing person.
Yeah, we can't undersell like the kind of not undersell. We can't explain the kind of person this guy was. Like, I was in his presence once, and when I saw the picture of him, commemorating the 2nd year anniversary of his death, it was like, it almost brought me to tears, And he was just such a genuine guy, and you're lucky if you can meet a handful of those guys in your lifetime,
He's definitely one of them.
Oh God, amazing person, and I just wish he was someone we could have had on. If you could go back and you knew you only had a certain amount of time with somebody, I would have liked to say I'd like to have been around him a couple more times in my life,
Yeah, same here, man. Kind of appreciate the time he got, right? You never know. And I got to be around him a bit more, but damn, look back, I'm like, shit, I wish I would have, spent a little bit more time with him. So Mark was amazing, and yeah.
And to hit on that, like the kind of guy he was, and we're not just saying this, just like Brian, when this man passed, Brian might have been around him 3 times, and Brian hopped in his truck to drive down to Fort Bragg for the funeral. That's how much this guy meant in the short time that we spent with him, especially to Brian. And, he's just a special human being.
Yeah.
Yep. I've been carrying the special ops. They actually brought us a backpack, and I still carry that.
So do I. I got the same backpack.
Yeah, where I carry it everywhere through the airports, and I'm glad to represent, glad to promote that organization and all the work that they do. And just a shout out to all the families in the military, all that you guys are doing and have done and have sacrificed. It's an amazing thing. We appreciate you. Let us be here to do this show that we do.
Yeah, you truly are. They're the best. They're the best we have to offer. They're not celebrated enough, and they had some show last night celebrating people making music, and I don't know. But I care about you guys, not so much them. You know what I mean?
I heard that.
but it's. Thank you guys. Thanks, military. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, we got a lot that we're going to be talking about tonight. We're also going to be talking about the FLW that was just won in the MLF with Jordan Lee. Just unbelievable stuff. And Riz, we already got some action on the IM board.
Oh, yeah, plenty of action. Just big shout out to Milwaukee Mike. He's checking in. He's here with us. 17 years in National Guard service and 3 tours in Iraq. He's on the IM board checking out the show tonight. So we appreciate you, man.
Thanks for watching, dude.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for your service.
But we've all been kind of busy, man. There's been a heck of a lot that's been going on. I went down to the Bass Open, fished the Harris chain, which is a great body of water that I haven't had a chance to fish very much over the years, but 10 years ago I was able to fish there, and I got to go back there. Really enjoyed it, except for I didn't catch any big fish. Apparently Lake Eustis was the place to be. 80% of the field was all fishing there, but it was a great tournament by bass. Had a big turnout.
How long, when you were down there, before you said, why do I live in New Jersey? Like, I want to know, seriously. Like, do you ever consider relocating down there?
I can't tell you how many people. Charlie Hartley, speaker for Bass U, guest on the show. He just bought a house on Lake Toho.
Yeah.
Another guy from the New Jersey Federation bought a place on Harris.
Who?
I knew you were going
to
ask
that. Don't worry about
it.
it.
I can't remember his name at the moment.
Keith Cowan bought
I'll
the
think
house.
about it in just a minute. And, But they, people are moving down there. Of course, JT Kenny, we did some work with him. He's building a house down there. He's like 5 minutes from the stick marsh, 5 minutes from fishing for giant grouper, 5 minutes from going out to the big
so
water.
He's around Sebastian.
He's on the East Coast.
Yeah, so he's probably Sebastian if he's close to stick marsh.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty awesome down there, and we come home to 20-degree temperatures. So
every time we go there, man, like, my God, I am so close to pulling the trigger, man.
Dude, I was fishing in Virginia a few weeks ago, and I was thinking that. It's not even close to Florida.
Yeah.
It's 4.5 hours away from here, and I was like, oh, my God.
Speaking of Virginia, I just came back from Richmond, right? So the company who I work for can remain anonymous. They had a big managers meeting, and I went down there, and I'm standing this close. I'm sitting, actually, I got sat in the front just by accident. I'm next to the 143rd richest family on Forbes, right? And guys like me tend to think that, like, people who own companies like that pay smart people to run it for them. Quite the opposite. These dudes were dialed in to the smallest little tactical element of a business that you could be dialed into. It was just, but it was impressive. Like for someone like me, a knuckle dragger from New Jersey, I had no idea how smart people run businesses. You know what I mean? And to see that and to see how dialed in they were. But yeah, sorry about the Virginia. Whatever. I'm sorry. Let's continue intro in the room here.
Yeah.
You ready, Bri? You want to get on the camera there? Go ahead, Pete.
Well, we got Eric, the intern, on the sofa.
I'm here alone on the couch by myself.
You
is a rare appearance for me on the couch.
Look at
it's not
you.
a normal occurrence.
His phone is by his right foot. People pay attention and watch his
face down. Face down.
Watch his ferretive movements toward the phone.
Yep. He's starting to sweat a little bit because it's been 5 minutes since
6 minminutes actually.
6 minutes.
The activator is going to melt out of that quaff in any minute.
Look at you go.
It's going to be dripping down like stalagmites. Then ones that come from the top, or they stalactites? One's from the bottom, one's from the top. Right?
I don't know, man. I wasn't good at science.
And of course, we've got Rich Leadbeater, a.k.a. Riz, with us.
Riz.
Good to see you, buddy.
Remax Rich.
And,
yes, sir.
Of course, BTC, my brother.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Who alleges that the boat build has commenced.
That's right. We
can
have
confirm.
It hath begun.
Update, please.
Can confirm.
What's happening with
Which
the boat
means he
build?
dropped it off at the...
Building boats, losing friends.
We gutted the boat on Sunday, and we're ready for phase 2. So keep your eyes out, people. This is going to happen.
Big shouts to Dave Haas.
That's right.
Paid.
So yeah, we're doing a boat build. We're gutting my 16-foot tracker and pimping it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. TH Marine, a few other companies are involved. So
Nice.
It's badass, dude.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
We look forward to it too. It was good to see Big Dave at the Bass University up at Edison.
That's right.
And I look forward to seeing the good work he's doing on the show.
Can we give a shout out to the tow company? It's going to take it to the scrapyard.
He's such a fool.
I'm sorry.
Dave live.
It's the same shit we did when we were 16 or 14 or 12 years old. And here we are.
And now you got a platform.
Nearing the century mark doing the same stupid.
I mean, the man's stepping, he's putting himself out there.
I know, he's
doing
availing
something
himself.
Special.
Yes.
Just revealing his belly.
Availing his belly.
And you're just stomping on
I'm sorry.
right on the throat.
I would expect no less. Cheers, my brother.
We look forward to seeing it. But Eric, man, what are you doing in Virginia? What's going on down there?
I got the chance a couple weeks ago to fish somewhere that I have known about since I was a little kid. Man, I've seen this place on YouTube way back in the day, and I've always wanted to fish there. It was the Lake Anna hot side. Hot side of Lake Anna. It's got 3 pools. It's a power plant deal. I got to go down there with a couple buddies, Nolan Miner, who's a college bass fisherman. He fishes on West Virginia's team, and Nick Batista. So shout out to those 2 guys, man. We had a blast down there, and it's so unique to anything we have around here. You know, because there's 3 pools. They're connected by canals. Each pool is a little bit hotter as you get closer to the actual power plant, and it's like you're out there in full winter gear. You can see your breath. Your head's down when you're running because it's so cold. And then you're pulling up on the bank and catching them on a spook. It's absurd.
Really?
Yeah, and then after that, if you want to, you can go out into 40 foot of water and blade them on a Binsky the same day.
That's crazy.
It's so unique. You catch a lot of small fish. There's a lot of small fish in the lake, and I'm assuming that has something to do with it being warm all year. But, I mean, the fact that you can even do that.
Did you guys get job applications at the power plant or something?
Bro.
The 3 team trust fund down there?
I was thinking about it, man. I'll tell you.
What do you want on a Tuesday fishing a power plant? You could get applications.
That would get in the way of all of his fishing, dude.
Hey, man, I was actually doing work while I was down there, you know. Mullix. Shout out to Mullix. We were getting Mullix content down there. Nolan and Nick are on my Mullix team, so it was a business trip. Believe it or not.
Copy that.
What was the water temperature, the hottest part?
So, the cold pool that's kind of closer to the cool side was in the 50s, like 52, 54. But once you got to the pool where you could actually see the power plant, it was over 60-degree water temps.
Wow.
And it stays like that all year. And apparently in the summer, it's like well into the 90s. You know, like it gets crazy. Wow. I don't even know how those fish survive in the summertime. Yep. You know?
Yep. Boiled.
Yeah, they probably move out of there, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be an escape.
I bet you they swim away.
The funniest part about it is the hot side, you need to have access to it, so you need to know someone that lives on the lake to fish the hot side. So you're fishing, right? And there's this dam that separates the hot side and the cold side, and you could just see all the envious cold side fishermen, all the peasants that don't have access. They're, all fishing, they're like right up on the dam. They're looking over. Meanwhile, you're getting bite after bite, dude. It's awesome. It's savage.
Man, that is.
It's savage.
Well, how did you get access?
Nolan knew someone.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Shocking.
shout out to Nolan.
Yeah.
That was it, man.
That's great. Well, you know, that's
mocking the commoners.
It was also fun because a couple weeks ago I punched a wall and I really messed up my wrist, like really bad. The only rod I could fish down there without, I couldn't fish a normal rod. I could only fish my ultralight. So I was throwing an ultralight with 2-pound test for the entire time, and a little Kitech, smashing them.
Just so you know, Eric, when you showed up to the charity event with the wristband, with the ace bandage on your wrist,
I knew what I was getting into.
People were there were some different theories on how Eric hurt his wrist.
I'm sure there were. Would you like to explain? Some
I
of
heard
these
a couple
theories
good ones. One dude told me to tell you that the springs punch back in the sofa.
That I learned. I learned my lesson.
That hard couch hitter, boy.
Life gets stressful sometimes, guys.
Yeah.
When you punched the wall, did you call your landlord and tell him that there's a hole in the wall that needs repair now?
Dude, he was actually the one that took me to urgent care. So yeah, I think he was the first person I called.
Another guy asked me to tell you to keep your hands in your pockets when you're around the field hockey team at college. I don't know what that even meant.
I dated a field hockey player in high school.
That's what's up. They got thighs, bro.
Yeah, well,
Telling me.
spraining wrists.
Good athletes.
I would like to have seen a picture of this wall you allegedly punched.
I hope it wasn't a wall, dude.
It wasn't a wall.
All
It was.
right.
It
was a couch.
It wasn't a couch either. It's one of
Pillow?
those things. It was an ottoman, like one of those things you put your feet up on.
Yeah, those padded ottomans. Right.
I was sitting down on the floor, and I looked to my left, and the ottoman was the first thing there.
Getting
So
smart with you. Was the ottoman
I
getting smart?
just went for it, man. I was like, this ottoman needs to learn its lesson. But the problem was, I went to hit, and I didn't land the punch correctly. Like I went in
Because
like that.
you fished since you were little. Never learned how to throw a punch. Go ahead.
Yeah, no,
Right?
I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm a
you're a
lover.
good kid.
I'm a
Right.
lover, not a fighter, man. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, you
there's
got
a fight
caught
out
wrong
here.
on the cushion. I mean,
Yeah.
guys break ice blocks 10 deep with their fists, and you break your wrist on a ottoman.
Dude, it is what it is.
Sometimes it happens,
The
my
only thing
friend.
that made me feel a little better was the next day I was talking to Mike, and he was telling me all the things that he's punched.
But
It's
Mike,
like,
Mike
so-
punches through like drywall and doors and windows.
Noses.
Yeah, drunk guys' noses.
I can attest.
Yeah.
I don't know which Mike you guys are talking
Yeah,
about.
I know.
Nobody we know.
Shout out
you
to our
don't.
buddy Mike, by the way,
Yep.
down there
Yep.
in
Conroe.
MLF, Conroe, right?
Getting ready for Conroe. I guess the practice is winding up today for the MLF. They
Yeah.
will be live tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Conroe, they're projecting we're going to see multiple bass in the 10-pound range, double-digit bass coming out of that lake.
What stage are they in?
It's got to be pre-spawn down there.
Pre-spawn?
They're a little bit further, a little bit too far north, I would guess, to be really heavy into the spawn. But it's just a guess. I mean, Houston's way down. It's way down south. So
It snowed here today, so I'm completely unable to identify.
one of the other things about Texas too is that I guess the Gulf Stream, or the jet stream rather, gets it bellies down a little bit, and it pushes a lot of cold air in Texas. From time, some of the coldest tournaments I ever fished were
Really?
in Texas. And it definitely gets cold. So I would guess pre-spawn, but
Okay.
the weather's right, them fish will take the banks, man.
Yeah.
So we'll look forward to that. And I had something cool happen, and we were at Bass University at Columbus, and after our first day, which was Friday, I knew what was coming up. I'm a collegiate wrestling fan. I know Dave is too, and I think there's probably maybe one other person that's listening to this broadcast that is. But what happened was Penn State, the number 1 ranked wrestling team in the nation, was taking on Ohio State, the number 2, and I was fortunate enough to get tickets, man.
So how did you score the tickets?
Well, here's the deal. We started talking about it, and we were like, there was tickets available, like in the nosebleed section.
Yeah.
And then I got busy with doing work, and the guy goes, "You still want to go?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm in." We go. They're sold out. So as we're on the website, floor tickets open up. What happened was the Penn State allotment of seats did not completely sell out.
Okay.
And they had these Penn State seats available. We were third row in from the mat.
Wow.
And we got to see it all. Got to see the Penn State guys coming in, Bo Nickel and all the other Vincenzo Joseph, #1 ranked wrestlers in the nation, and there was 5 #1 ranked wrestlers in the nation wrestling that night. 2 Olympic gold medalists between the Penn State coach and the former Ohio State wrestler that were in the room.
Wow!
And it was
Cale Sanderson from Penn State.
Cale Sanderson, he won the gold, undefeated in college, and but it was one of those things that I was so glad I got to see, and it was Ohio State, which they are fanatical, man. They set a record over 13,000 fans in the stadium. It was loud as anything you could ever hear.
So to give fans perspective, and I'll make it brief, like this is equivalent to seeing like 1985 Notre Dame versus like Miami, in terms of the rivalry. It's equivalent to like the 2000-2001 Ravens Steelers game. Like this is a big deal in Big Ten wrestling. Penn State and Ohio State, man. I'm pretty jealous, dude. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was in the house where Bobby Knight won his national championship, the stadium where we saw it. So it was pretty cool. The match itself wasn't that cool. Penn State just wiped up the mat with Ohio State, just crushed them, and they won all the matches they shouldn't have won, and of course they won all the matches they should have won. It was pretty impressive.
They could probably take 8th with their backup kids that rolls with their thoroughbreds. Like that. Penn State gets anybody they want in wrestling. I mean, so does Ohio State, but.
Yeah. But that's
neat, dude.
Yeah, that was cool experience for me, and fishing the Open, and your son's a wrestler.
Yeah, well, David I got a picture with Cale and David at the Penn State Open tournament every year. They have one like usually at the end of February, beginning of March, and I got a picture with Dave and Cale.
That's awesome.
He's taller than you think. He's about my height, maybe a little bit taller.
Oh yeah. That was cool. I was sitting right next to him. They all walked right by me.
Yeah.
So
he's a big dude.
Yep. Yeah. That
was... What did he wrestle at?
When he won, when he won,
be a heavyweight.
No, not at all. Not even close, dude.
6'3"?
He wrestled Daniel Cormier in the NCAA finals. I think they might have went at 87. They might have wrestled at 187 pounds in college. I don't have to look that up. I don't exactly know.
Yeah, I think that might even be heavy. It was pretty lean. You stand right next to him. He's still an extremely lean guy. But if I had to guess, it's 160, 170, something like that. If I had to guess,
really
was his wrestling weight, but we'll have to look it up.
Okay,
look it up. But
carry on. Oh, I got a message from a fan, Dave. Mark Z says, "Tell Borodziuk he's way better making fun of people than reading promotions." And then
agreed.
No contest.
And then sent some pictures of some. I don't know if it's a baboon or an orangutan.
Damn.
Harsh, Mark.
Eric, your ottoman, by the way, says get your weight up on your punches.
It's not happening.
Eric's ottoman.
Eric's ottoman checked in.
I'm happy the way I am, ottoman. All right.
Yeah, Rowan University made Eric's ottoman go to bully classes.
Step that smoke up, dog.
Anti-bullying 101.
Oh God.
That's awesome.
Thank
you, Ottoman, for chiming in. We appreciate your input. Keep them coming.
Sue that Ottoman. Playing on team, man.
You're
I can
right.
Sue that Ottoman.
You're
Harassment, intimidation, and bullying.
You're right.
Chris Christie.
Probably bias intimidation.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of bullying,
oh boy,
we had a lot going on in the fishing industry these past couple of weeks.
That's a pretty awesome segue, Pete.
It kind of seems like there was trying to be some bullying going on. I don't know. But we had the MLF, the Bass Pro Tour, step out with lights, camera, action, and big names. All the major guys in the sport with a really creative format and an amazing broadcast team. And just roll out big, man.
Yeah.
Super big. And it caught my attention. I watched every single day of the competition. Were you guys able to watch?
No, I did not. But what shocked me most was how many Floridians were absent from the top 10 in all of the finals.
Right.
That's usually not the way it is. January, February fishing in Florida, they're littered. And it's very rare. And you had guys from Canada coming down.
Canada.
Not only one, but two. Canada, I mean, that might be the first time ever 2 people from Canada ever got top 10 in a Florida tournament. Guarantee you.
About that.
Probably the only 2 times 2 people from Canada ever fished in Florida at the same time.
Those fish on St. John's were in full. They were on beds. You know, those guys were. You know, if they found the right areas to be, they were catching.
Yeah, but you know how hard it is to go down there and beat them Florida boys in January and February, dude. Like there might be no better home field advantage. And you've done this. You're way more longer in the tooth than me. There may be no better home field advantage than January, February Florida tournaments from Florida State people.
Yeah, I would agree. You'll see, and most of the guys that did well in these tournaments all will say the same exact thing. They're like, I'm just glad to get out of here. Glad to get out of here with some fish catches, some points, something.
For sure.
And they wind up doing well because the Florida strain bass, especially in Florida, is extremely temperamental. And it does not like the cold fronts. It does not like any fronts. Learned this from JT. We did some live stuff with JT. Yeah. And he says, man, it's not really about the water temperature. It's just about the change. They don't like it. They like it stable, just right across the board. And if it's stable, those fish will bite. Most of us that don't deal with that all the time have a hard time with it, and Mike too, and Mike had a great tournament, and but you're right, the Florida guys have a big advantage.
I remember one whose name I didn't know, and Scott Martin for FLW. There was only out of the 30 that we're talking about, out of the 3 tournaments top 10, Scott Martin and some other Florida guy. The rest were a bunch of invaders, man.
Well, there's a lot of new people on the FLW tour, right? These we got Brian Thrift left there, Scott Martin. A lot of the, top FLW guys have migrated over to either MLF or the Bass Elites. So, there's been a lot of change. And so we're seeing a lot of new names on both of those tournament trails. And guys, I want to invite you guys, watching at home. I want to hear from you. What do you guys think? Who won? Was there a winner? FLW, Bass Elites, MLF. Who do you guys think, won the week, or what's your perspective on it? Good or bad? We want to hear from you guys on the IM board. So,
and I'll start it with this. Being that we just talked about wrestling, and wrestling, we're always looking at brackets. For me, the Bass Pro Tour, 3 Classic winners and an FLW winner in their top 10 on the final day.
Wow.
3 Classic winners.
Yep.
And an FLW winner.
Yeah, that's pretty. And I'm trying to read Brian's whiteboard here, and it says Transition
to our Skype guest.
Transition to our Skype guest.
Very smooth transition we're working on right there.
Very and our Skype guest. Do we have our Skype guest ready to go?
There
we will shortly, as soon as we crop this picture.
Yeah, so that's what I had noticed most was how heavy the Major League Fishing bracket was, man.
Oh yeah,
murderers.
Oh yeah, they definitely had some big names, but the Bass Elites, they have some super talents, and they kept several of the former Bass Elites, including Rick Clun, who won the tournament, were there, and a bunch of new guys that from FLW, some new guys from the Opens. These guys are all hammers too, and you watched them shine during this tournament, and we are very, very fortunate to have a pair of them that made the finals. And I'm really excited to meet these guys. These are brothers that compete. They compete on FLW. Now they're competing on the Elites. We have via Skype, we have Chris and Cory Johnston. Welcome to the show, guys. Where are you guys right now? Are you guys are practicing for another derby, aren't you?
Yeah, we had to switch gears and get the winter clothes on. We are at a house on Lake Lanier. We just got off the water about an hour ago. We drove all night to get here, so we got about 4 hours sleep. Now we were just rigging some rods, kind of switching modes, getting 12-pound test on instead of 60, and we're staying at house here with Gussie, Chris Groh, and Seth Fighter. So they might make a special appearance. You never know.
There are guys.
Man,
very nice.
There's a bunch of Northerners in that house, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of us here. Yes,
you guys
Two
got
beer drinkers in this house.
Yeah, wrong.
You guys need to get like a token Southerner in there or something to keep it honest.
Who transports the hockey sticks in the nets?
Oh, they always come with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beating snakes off if they try to get in the boat.
Yeah.
Well, that's got to be a fun house, man. You guys got to go live and let us know what's going on over there. But you guys came off a big win. You didn't win the tournament, but to me, it's a win.
Big win.
You guys monster finishes in your first elite. Chris, I know you took second place, and you took second to, arguably the greatest angler in the history of the sport, Rick Clunn. I mean, are you guys riding high from this? You got to be sitting in a great spot right now.
I'm thrilled. Just to be on the same stage as Rick is an honor. And if he's going to beat you, he might as well do it with 34 pounds. It's not like he beat me by ounces,
Yeah.
so he deserved it.
Yeah,
Or not 34, but to weigh in 34 pounds and beat me.
That was amazing what you guys were weighing in there, man. That 30-pound bag, we saw them every day. We saw massive amounts of 20-pound bags. Have you guys ever fished around a lake putting out that size of fish before?
No, I mean, we don't get the only big bass we get to catch are smallmouths. We don't get a ton of big largemouths, but I've never experienced bags like that before ever. I had almost 28 pounds, and it was like the fourth biggest bag that day or something like that. It was just stupid.
Did you guys find any commonality with that body of water versus what you guys have at home that you were able to transition or translate it to do so well, the both of you?
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of cut our teeth flipping for largemouths back home in milfoil and pencil reeds and cane, that kind of stuff. So Florida looks very familiar to us, and that's kind of why we like it so much.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's amazing. Two guys from the frozen tundra coming down to Florida and winning. When we say winning, we know he didn't win, but I'm just saying, like, winning for us, going down there and placing in the top 10 and beating a bunch of Floridian killers in their own home body of water, going down and smashing them, man. It's amazing. Yeah. That's a victory.
Well, your talents obviously make the transition. We all expect you guys to do something special with smallmouth and the northern bodies of water. So, we've seen it on the FLW. Now we've seen it now on the Bass Elites. I've heard rumors about what you guys are doing, and I got to ask you some of this stuff. We used to do stuff back when I was in a bass club where, we would, as a club, we would share information. We would combine our winnings and split it out. We would do things to really help each other and share areas, which is really unheard of out on the Pro Tour to that extent. But I've heard you guys do a little bit of that. Is that true? Are you guys working that close together?
Yeah, and it all kind of started when we were younger. We grew up fishing team tournaments. That's all there really was in Canada. So we had all the gear. We just kept it our parents, and all the money just went in the same pot because it was a team tournament. And then we started into our family business, which is we were working together anyways, and it was working well. So we started fishing on the American circuit and getting into bigger money, but we always just kept the same format, that we just put all our money into the same account we've been using since we were 14. It worked. Wow. It worked then. It's been working now. And as far as the information goes, we do share information, but it's the same as almost any pro that goes out in the water. He has his buddies that he calls and said, hey, how are you making out? Is this lake sucking or is it just me? And we do the same thing, but the nice thing is between us, we don't hold anything back. So you get buddies that can they tell you a little bit, but they don't want to tell you the juice that, yeah, I'm catching them in 20 feet of water on a crankbait, but we will tell each other that stuff. And we try not to fish the same water. And actually sometimes it's annoying because he'll tell me that, hey, I got maybe the winning fish up in this creek, don't go anywhere near it. So I'm like, oh, well, that sucks. I can't go anywhere near the creek, and I don't even get a chance to check it. But we work together like that. We try not to take each other's fish, and we try not to share fish, because if you're sharing fish, it's pretty hard to win a big tournament. So we try and stay away from each other, but help each other in the fact that, hey, I'm getting them on a spinnerbait on wood or something like that. Try it in that end of the lake, or stuff like that. And I think a lot of other anglers do that. They're just not as open about it.
Right. Cory, I got a question. Which brother found this mother load?
Well, it's kind of a funny story because when we were in Florida, during practice and the start of practice leading up to it, it was a major cold front. And we knew that there was a big warm front coming. So a lot of the stuff that we actually practiced didn't have any fish on it then. So we kind of knew what was coming and where these fish were kind of going to go. And Chris got a couple bites in one patch of reeds, nothing major. And, the first day of the tournament, I went sight fishing for the most part, caught a couple off docks, the same stretch that Rick Munn caught all his off of, actually. And
you got out fished by Rick.
I did. But long story short, after that weigh-in, Chris said, I caught him in those reeds really good. So I went the next day, did my stretch of docks, and then I went and I knew where there's a patch of reeds, and I pulled into those patch of reeds and beat on them pretty good. And the third day, I basically stuck it out in those reeds and caught almost 28 pounds in those reeds. So Chris initially said that they were pulling up a spawn in those reeds, and then I went around, looked for a bunch more of it, and that's kind of how our teamwork pays off.
It was kind of we were joking around in practice saying, like, there was none on these reeds, but I could see all the old beds in these reeds, and I kept going looking, and I'm hoping to find a big bedder on these reeds, but I could never find any in practice. But jokingly, I said, if they ever pull up to spawn, I know where they're going to go because I can see all the old beds everywhere. And sure enough, I think in our off day, we had 80-degree weather for 2 or 3 days. I think they all just showed up, and if you could see the top 10 guys, 90% or 9 out of the 10 were flipping reeds. So it was definitely the pattern to win on. I don't know. I think Rick was fishing docks doing something a little different, but there just wasn't enough reeds to go around for everyone. If they had been on those reeds in practice, they would have got smoked, right. And there would have been 30 guys flipping the 30 patches of reeds in the lake. So it's kind of worked out well that they weren't there in practice.
Chris, do you think Cory, with his newfound confidence, has an offshore account now? Hey, preparing to divorce you. He's sizing you up for a divorce. I can see it in his eyes, man. Look at him.
Yeah. That's it. I'm just gonna give him a beating and take whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, is it true? Is it true that that you didn't? I think it was you, Chris, that you didn't win because your brother, took the scissors out of your boat the night before that day of competition.
Whoa! Let's back up here. It was Chris that took the scissors out of my boat.
That's a fact.
Well,
sabotage.
The question
Don't
stands.
stop you from catching fish, though.
I mean, he had to use his pliers, Chris. That had to cost him at least 10 casts a day. You kept him. Yeah. You may have kept him out of the winner's circle.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't feel bad for 1 second. If I caught a fish with the hook buried, I didn't even have pliers to get it out with. All I had was a pair of scissors.
Been there.
So.
That was a great comment. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
He was like using a pair of pliers. Cory was to cut his line. And he's like, my stupid brother took my scissors last night.
Oh, dag!
So all I got his pliers to cut the braid with.
You're speaking of brothers, guys. If you could leave your bodies and go into some other Pro Tour brothers' bodies, would you rather? Who would you rather? Like, what bodies would you want to possess? Would you want to be the Lee brothers, the Shryock brothers, or the Lane brothers?
Definitely got to be the Lane brothers. I mean, they're pretty cool guys. I met them both, and they like to party. We like to party. To have fun.
That's what's up.
So it's got to be the Lanes.
This house we're staying at could be a lot of fun if we all bomb. Come Friday night, we might be letting loose if we're all not fishing Saturday. So,
well, you got Grow dragging you down, so there's a good chance.
He's standing beside us laughing.
Well, what do you think? Have you guys been on the water at all up there? Or I guess you started today. How's Lake Lanier looking?
We got out this morning, and it's a lot different from the Lanier I remember last year. You could go anywhere and catch a fish. and it's a lot tougher right now, but there's still some big ones to be had. Just they don't seem to be grouped up as well. I heard actually Chris Grove was saying last week the water was 59, and now it's 49 this week. So I don't know if that's got them in a bit of a funk, but there's going to be some big ones caught though.
Wow,
that place is really coming on strong. Back in the day, we'd catch 12 pounds of spots on Lake Lanier, and you'd be a hero. Now it seems like there's 20-pound bags of spots to be had out there.
Yeah, I think at 23 pounds won a local derby out here a week ago or a week and a half ago. So they live out there.
Man, they are definitely. It sounds like you guys are drinking behind the scenes.
Yeah, what's
right
fight?
now, man.
Oh, I don't know what they're doing.
They're already having a couple beers.
Sounded like water
they got
boiling.
More energy. They got a lot of rest last night.
Is there?
Oh,
yeah. Is there any boiling water? It sounds like it.
So you guys are at Lake Lanier. You started off to a big, great start here on the elites, man. You talked about fishing next to Rick Clunn, man. Were you intimidated? I first time I fished next to that guy, man, I picked my trolling motor up and drove across the lake. I was scared.
No.
I was scared my lure, like a ripple from my cast, might hit his boat or something.
Tell the truth. You said that Bengay was making your eyes water.
That's kind of a funny thing because the second day on that, I went to that stretch of docks, and first day I caught 2 good ones off it. So I go there the second day, and I'm working up this shoreline, and I kind of get to a little turn, and I'm looking, I'm like, who's that boat coming down? And it turns out it's Clunn. And I had missed a fish on the dock, and he's like right there. So I spin the boat around to go back to the dock, and Clunn's right beside me, and he says, fishing new water today, are you? I looked down and said, no, same stuff as yesterday, Rick.
Whoa.
And he goes, okay, well, so we kind of had a few words here and there, and, long story short, she all got settled out. I don't think he knew that I was there, and I didn't know that he was there. So, that's kind of fishing.
Good for you, standing up for yourself.
Yeah. It would have been funnier if you just said, no, Rick, I didn't fish here before. I just saw you here, so I came over and decided to fish.
It's got to be a good spot.
Yeah, my mom told me you were here.
Next time I see him, that's what I'll say.
Yeah, you got to do psychological warfare. You can't play the honest role. Especially, like, if you do be overly Canadian about it. Like, no, Rick, my mom told me I was here.
Yeah. Sorry.
So sorry, Ricky.
Jump over there, jersey him quick, few uppercuts.
That's what's up, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, Cory, you look like you've jerseys a few fools.
Yeah.
Talk to me, dude.
Once or twice,
Hey, dude, I was so I understand you guys both played hockey, right?
A little bit. Yeah, I don't think there's many Canadians that don't play.
Right. And so I played. Me and Ike played. We played back in the day. I was just looking at your guys' profile pics today, and Cory, I got to be honest, just looking at your face. Dude, you look like you were a nightmare to play against. Like, I'm looking at
it's just that ugly face.
Dude, I looked at your FLW profile pic, and I looked at your face. I'm like, God, he was probably a dick to play against. You know what I mean?
You know what? That's putting it mildly.
I believe that, man.
How do you determine by the look? Just looks like a mean player.
Yeah.
Just a smashed up face.
You don't want to go up to and start with.
Yeah,
you could just look at someone and say that guy's probably a bit of a know what to play against.
It's the eyes, dude. The eyes have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those bass jerseys don't really bode well for hockey fighting.
Bro, look at the eyes.
You know? No, but I'm just saying, like, if you were gonna fight a bass angler, would you try to pull the jersey over his head, or would you just go straight up, guns and move around and maybe move in and out? Are you going to try to pull the jersey over his head?
You got to grab him right by the front of the jersey.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely.
To get your range.
Like, I can see
if he was beat up, but you treat it like a hockey fight.
I can see if he was wearing a hoodie, but those flimsy sponsor shirts, I don't know how well they would hold up in a hockey fight.
Well, you got to have quality jerseys just in case you get in a fight on the water. You never know.
You guys need to have hockey jerseys done up with sponsor stuff on it.
That's been talked about.
That was actually discussed for maybe when we go up north, closer to home.
They're called sweaters in Canada.
Really?
And a hockey helmet for takeoff.
Yeah, dude. Hockey gloves. You know what I mean, dude?
Yeah, gloves on the steering wheel. It's been discussed, yeah.
That'd be the best part. If you blew up on Clunn and he's like, fishing new water, and you'd like threw the gloves down.
Drop them gloves,
Throw the Sims down.
That would be good.
Like, nah, dude, I heard you were here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Rick could probably beat him up. That'd be the sad thing.
Oh, man, dude. Yeah, that
Jedi mind tricks.
Yeah, you got to go back to Canada, man.
What position? what positions did you guys play?
Center and right wing, both of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry. You can answer this if you want to. Guy, I don't know anything about hockey. Is there different body types that play different positions? Like
sort of.
Not like football. No. It's pretty generic.
Okay.
Whatever you're good at.
But your defensemen always seem taller than everybody else. Am I imagining that?
Yeah, you're probably right. Back in the old days, the defensemen were the big, slower guys. But the times have changed, and now they got to be more agile, and they're smaller. But
gotcha.
yeah. But on hockey, you got your first line, and then there's usually 4 lines. The fourth line's the weaker one, and they're usually the dumb ones that usually get beat up all the time. And guess where Cory played? First line. Yeah, right.
Now, did your high school team have a hockey team?
We did, but high school sports where we live aren't as big as they are in the States.
Okay.
So it's we have like our junior hockey, which is the biggest kind of thing that there is. But we did have hockey back in high school, and that was our biggest high school sport where we were from. Football, there's probably 5 sports. Football was probably the 5th one if you're ranking them.
If I were to ask you guys, out of everyone you've talked to tonight in the room, who was a championship goalie on a championship team, who would you think was the championship goalie? I'll tell you, it was me.
Chris Rowe?
No, it was me. It was me.
He just looks like a goalie.
1984 Volts Intramural League. I was the championship goalie, just so you know.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, really? Is that for what, ball hockey?
No, dude, it was middle school, man. It was it was ball hockey, exactly. I don't know what I was doing.
Goalies are always the weirdest ones on the team, just so you know.
Yeah, thanks.
I've never in my whole life met a normal goalie.
Nah, and Dave had no skill, so that's where he got stuffed.
Yeah. Like
but again, I was still I don't know, man. If you're the champ goalie on a team, and you're the goalie, right? That means you did some right things, no?
Yeah,
how do you hide a goalie on? How do you hide a goalie on a championship team?
You took a lot of rubber in the face, is what you did.
All right, I'll stop.
Just stand there, look big.
I'm out.
Hey, wasn't the St. John's where Ish threw the guy in the lake at the lock? Was that at the St. John's when that happened, or was that Toho?
I don't know. I thought it was Toho.
Was that Toho? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you guys been at this long enough now, man. Have you gotten any scraps out there, man?
Not physically, but there's been a lot of times where I wish he could. I wish he could just 5 minutes in the box, like Major League Fishing. You know what I mean? Go fight him, get it sorted out, leave it in the water, and take a 5-minute break.
Need to get a ring of hands.
Other than Scott Martin, who's the guys you want to fight the most out there?
Well, there's a few Canadians where I would pay a lot of money to get my hands on him. Curtis Richardson, I would love to get my hands on him.
Curtis, where you at, dog?
How about Ian West? You want to punch him in the face?
No, he's a good dude.
All right.
Ian gave me a lot of storylines for tonight. He said, "Don't mention my name. Yeah. Don't mention my name." He is a good dude. I like Ian.
I give you the green light on wearing gloves and the hockey helmet at the next derby. We're expecting that at Lanier now. We got it.
Not Lanier. We didn't bring him here, but maybe when we get up north.
You got to get him a Bash U jersey. You got to get a Bash U hockey sweater done up. All right, eh? Come on.
Tackle Warehouse has that stuff. They'll ship it in, man. I think they even carry hockey gloves.
They may start. You never know.
We didn't even get into the X's and O's of their success.
Yeah. Well, on that note, were you guys sight fishing, or were you just blind casting your stick baits?
I did a lot of sight fishing the first 2 days, and I caught a couple big ones doing that. And then once I got onto those reeds, it was pretty much the reeds and the docks. I was able to actually sight fish a couple in the reeds on day 2 and 3. On day 2, I was going through the reeds. You can only see once the sun gets up at like 10 o'clock. And I was going through, and you can only see like right below your boat, which is a 1.5 foot of water. And I went over one. I'm like, oh God, that's a giant. It was a 7.5, almost 8 pounder. And I went by it. I come back around and made a couple flips to it. I couldn't see her, so I moved up, and she swam off the bed again. Anyways, I pulled down, and
after about 5 minutes, she came back and bit. And that was the biggest one I've probably ever sight fished off a bed, an 8-pounder. So that was fun.
I bet that was fun. I noticed you guys were flipping it. It seemed like you were flipping a stick bait. Is that right? I thought I saw both of you guys doing that.
I was throwing a speed worm a lot more. My reeds were a lot more isolated.
Okay.
So I'd kind of flip it or cast it way out. With a foot of water, you couldn't get close to the reeds because you'd spook fish. So I was casting a little speed worm out and casting it by and just slowly creeping along the bottom through the reeds. And I got.
Hey, Brian.
8 ounce weight, a little heavier. The stuff I was flipping was a lot thicker. You needed the heavier line, heavier rod to get them out of it.
Right. That must have been awesome, jamming those big, giant fish.
Oh,
man.
dude. My ribs are killing me right now. Like, it was awesome.
My favorite one was the last day because my water got dirty, so I switched to 65-pound braid and started flipping a heavy craw, and I got to finally crack one on braided line. I was sick of that fluorocarb. I don't like flipping with fluoro on that Cinco, so I got to actually put a 3-ounce weight on, or three 8-ounce weight and crack one. And it's just a different feeling, and they don't have a chance when they're coming to the boat.
Yeah, that must be awesome. Did you have opportunities? Like, I know, going through 4 days of fishing, man, you must have had a few mishaps. Did you miss any of them giants?
The first day, I went sight fishing for the morning on a different area because I found some on day 2 and 3 in some canals. And I lost an 8-pounder, fought it for like a minute and a half, and it came off under the boat. And then the last day, I lost one in the thick reeds, and I didn't move it. It was on fluorocarbon. It could have been a 3-pounder. It could have been a 6 or 7. I don't know how big it was. And then I lost one about 5 on a frog. So over 4 days, I lost 3 fish. It's not terrible, but it wasn't a clean week by any means.
I lost a nice 4-pounder the last day. Wouldn't have helped me a ton, but there was one other fish that I had in the reeds. I forget what day it was now, but day 3, I guess. It was actually in the pads right after I caught like a 6-pounder, and when I stuck it, I couldn't even get it out. It was just ripping through the pads, and it popped off. And again, I don't know how big it was, but it wasn't a small one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Chris, how many?
I'm sorry. Could those lost fish have put you in the winner's circle, Chris?
For me, you never know looking back, but if I put an 8-pounder in my bag, I weighed in 2 that were 1 3/4 pounds and 2 pounds the first day. So if I put an 8-pounder in, it gives me 6 more pounds.
All you needed was a 6-pounder the last day to win.
No, but I'm talking about the one I lost, the 8-pounder, the first day. It would have bumped me up 6 pounds. So I didn't look at the overall weight, how much he beat me by, but it could have very well. But
Chris.
Yeah, that happens. You're going to lose 1 or 2 fish.
Chris, on the note of 8-pounders, how many fish did you see that Shiner boat bring over the gunnels?
That was disgusting. It made me want to throw up.
Can you elaborate?
So, right where they were parked is where I wanted to start, because the day before I started frogging before I got into the reeds on those pads. And I said to Zona before, I got a little set of pads. I think I can get one first thing in the morning. And I pulled up, and they were sitting right in the area on the edge of the reeds. And I was hoping they would pull up, but I didn't say anything. He's like, "Oh, are you in the tournament? How you doing?" I'm like, pretty good. I'm leading."
Yeah.
And he
goes,
goes,
you're on my spot.
All right, well, just go wherever you want. But they weren't leaving, and then they started catching them. They probably had 30-plus pounds in the boat. And they've caught 7 or 8 for 5, I'm talking. They were giants. And then they started casting into the reeds because I wasn't right by them for a bit. And I watched them catch 2 or 3 giants around the reeds. And I might not have caught those, but those were the big females that kept pulling up into the reeds where I was fishing. So that hurt.
Were they using spinning rods?
What's that?
What was the question?
Nothing.
He chickened out.
Now, you guys from Canada coming down, right, and doing what you did in Florida against some Florida guys, right? It's almost like the early days of bass. What was that guy from Massachusetts? Danny Correa? Yeah, like those guys coming down from up there. It's not much of a wild correlation, right?
Well, it's not. Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because you guys don't get to fish that long. You get to fish a few months a year, and that's always been my theory why the guys from the South are dominate the sport, generally speaking, because they get to practice
reps,
more.
more reps.
They get to fish 12 months a year, 10 months a year. How in the world did you guys get so good fishing in such a short season?
We actually got a little lucky. We grew up. Our dad was big time into the bass fishing, into the tournament scene in Canada. So we got to learn everything that he's already known from a very young age. And he took us out in the boat from as soon as we could walk, and we learned all that. And his bread and butter was basically punching mats, flipping reeds, fishing for largemouth and heavy cover. And, as we grew up, we kind of taught him how to catch smallmouths, and, it's just been an ongoing thing.
Nice.
That's why when we go down to Florida, that's the stuff we grew up fishing. Reeds, grass. If there's milfoil, we'll flip deep milfoil. So some of the other places in Canada don't have that luxury. I think where Gussie's from, they don't have that type of fishing with cane and like buggy whips and stuff. But luckily where we live, we got tons of largemouth fisheries that relate to Florida.
Eric has a question.
I mean, to me, that's the most interesting part of this dynamic, the fact that there are two brothers that fish together like this, because I have a brother, he's 3 years younger than me. My dad took us both out when we were 4 or 5 years old. Here I am sitting here today. I've never been fishing with my brother in my life. I mean, he hates it. He can't stand it. So to me, that's what I really find interesting about this story, is the fact that the dad took them out and they both caught the bug instantly. Because it's really one of those things that you either have or you don't.
Agreed.
And I know a lot of brothers, I know a lot of dudes that fish, and they have brothers that don't fish or just don't want anything to do with it, like me. So that's why seeing something like this is so fascinating.
My dad bought me and my brother Walt one time 100 pounds of pork, and we ate friggin' pork for like 2 months straight. That's about it.
Thanks, Dave.
Other than the obvious pork reference, but do you guys remember? Do you guys remember what inspired you? Like, do you remember your first fish? Do you remember what, like, the moment when that happened? You're like, dude, this is awesome. I love this sport.
No, I can't really recall one specific one or my first fish, but we had a green wing trout derby, it's called, and it was at the lift lock, Peterborough lift locks where we live. And there's hundreds and hundreds of kids that go there. You win bikes and all kinds of stuff. So our parents would take us down there when we were younger, and Dad, knowing how to catch trout his whole life, we catch like 200 of these things a day. We win like bikes and watches and all kinds of crazy stuff. So winning stuff from fishing at an early age kind of, I think, built it up to where we are today. For me, I don't remember my first fish or anything. I could look back. I got tons of pictures between the both of us when we were 4 years old holding up big bass. But my first tournament when I was 11, I remember that one very well. It was on Curve Lake, and we caught, my dad and I fished it. We caught every one on topwater. And I don't know, we weighed like 17 pounds, but we got like $2,000 or $3,000 cash, and I got to keep all the money. And I was hooked on tournaments since then. And so it's been fun, and I believe it or not, we're pretty young still, but we've been fishing tournaments for 20 years at least, each of us. So we've got a little bit of experience now, and now we're trying to get at that or carry that into the States and progress.
What you just said is very important about the 20 years experience. One of the most popular questions we get from our younger viewers is, how do I get into fishing? And you guys, it's immersion, right? You guys have been immersed since you were 11. You just said your first tournament. I mean, 20 years. Yeah. And I'm telling you, if you can, guys, I know you're always asking the question. I don't put them through because I'm tired of seeing it. 20 years you got to be at this game, and here they are. 20 years later, they're sticking with it. You got to be absorbed with it constantly. You never need to ask it again. The template is on this episode, and these guys have it.
It's the guys that are obsessed. It's the guys that are 110% obsessed.
We never quit learning. Like, I look back at tournaments 3 or 4 years ago, and if I had known now what I knew then, or know now what I should have known then, I would have won tournaments. But you're always learning and progressing, getting better. And I wish I had the knowledge that I have now and go back 10 years, because you'd win every tournament. Yeah, it's just you keep getting better and growing as an angler with experience.
Younger anglers, follow these guys. Follow these guys as much as you can, because I don't think for those of you that don't follow the sport, 2 Canadians coming down and placing in a top 10 in a Florida January tournament. It's a unicorn in the wild, man. It does not happen. All right.
Hey.
And once again, it's a parent that introduced, a parent, an uncle. It seems like how we all got introduced to the sport, and that's really awesome that your dad. Does your dad still compete in tournaments? Do you guys team up? What's that?
No, he still loves fishing, and when we're back home, he really likes going out practicing with us. And the odd tournament, one of us can't fish, and he's the fill-in. So if one of us can't fish a team tournament, he gets the call, and he loves to go. So he wants one of us to fish Thousand Islands Open with him this year. We might make it happen.
Who's your dad always seem busy when they're asking to go fishing? So who's he like fishing with more is what I'm asking you, I guess.
I don't know. We can ask him. He's sitting right here.
Get him over there.
Yeah, he's just sitting there laughing.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris.
Where's he at?
I was going to buy a sheep today.
He might have mentioned on Bass Live that one of you guys maybe had a bit too many the night before and didn't wake up before a classic the next day for practice.
Well, that's
something along those
lines.
Can you
story, but maybe I didn't wake up early enough to go practice or something like that.
There he is. Too many Labats.
There's never been a day that I've never woken up for a tournament. There's been many tournaments back in the day where I shouldn't have been fishing. Put it that way.
Now we know. Now we know who Dad's cutting the grass on fishing day. Sorry.
Hey, well, you guys have been to the top of 2 tournament trails now. Tell me about your experience, man. It's like you spent a lot of time at the FLW. You had your first event with Bass. Who's better and why?
We get asked that question a lot, and we're so similar. Like we fish the same.
What did you ask? What tour's better?
I asked what tour's better.
Yeah.
Oh, what tour? I thought you said which one of yous is better.
Well, that's a good question.
We can get into that after, though.
Okay.
It's hard to say, but I don't want to say. But this was our first Bass event, and the publicity we got from one event in Bass is second to none. And look, we're talking to you guys on that show, and we've done well in FLW. You've never called us. So
we'll have anybody on that.
You can see that the publicity is a little better on one side, and you can't compete with the Bassmaster Classic. I don't care what it is. They've got that title, and that's something we've always said we wanted to do was fish the Bassmaster Classic. So hopefully we can do that next year. But I'm
well on your way.
I'm leaning towards one way. You can see where we're both fishing this year too. So
unless you were just being courteous, set your bar a little higher in terms of publicity with us. All right.
We'll have anybody on, man.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to weigh in on what's happening at the MLF and what they're doing to change the sport?
I think it's good if they can grow the sport and reach a new audience, get a bunch more people into fishing. I don't think it caters to the tournament anglers, the serious tournament anglers we're watching, because I think they want to see your 5 biggest bass.
Yeah.
But and that's just talking to different serious guys. But who knows? They might be reaching a new audience that we don't know about. So
Jordan caught 53 fish on this total in the tournament. Is anyone talking about 53 fish? They're talking about climbing 35 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, they really are. That's the reality of
it. There's no bar to match it against. It's like, okay, you got 50 fish for 70 pounds. There's nothing to compare that to.
Yeah.
Whereas if you catch 100 pounds of bass in 4 days, you're up in that elite category.
Yep.
Seeing Klein hold those two goddamn it looked like sacks of laundry. Just 2 of them hanging out there. You know, it's ridiculous.
I watched a movie the other day, and they said you don't go into a guy's den and see a picture of the 50 bass he caught. You see the picture of his personal best.
One.
You know,
yeah,
his giants. But that being said, I mean, I watched the MLF. I mean, I was fascinated. I was glued to it. I was glued to that as much as I was glued to the Bassmasters tournament. When Bass went live at the St. John's, I mean, that one guy with the catch under the concrete dock, I don't even know if you guys got to see that.
Yeah, that was sick.
That was one of the sickest fish catches I've ever seen. And it was so exciting to watch you guys duke it out. Menendez starting out with 28-pound bag and watching that. And I thought, after I watched the MLF, I thought, man, the MLF's going to rule. And then I watched Bassmasters, and I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, this is the sport we all still love.
And they have Zona and Tommy.
Yeah, well, that they can't. Yeah, that can't be made up for. Zona, Tommy, that whole crew. That whole crew is amazing. They are the best. They are the gold standard, and everything about the blue and gold. I do like the new format. It's different. You know what I mean? It's different. You got nothing to compare it to, but it's new. It's the new thing. I liked them both. You know what I mean? I like them. The problem they both have a spot. The problem I got with it is we just had two major tournament trails on top of each other. We're about to have it again. Dude, I got to work. I got to get shit done. And these guys are going to be on while I'm trying to work. And I'm like, who's going to have the balls to be like, okay, we start at 3 o'clock and we run to 7 p.m. So at least I can watch some of it live while I'm not working. Yeah. That'll be interesting to see if anybody's got the balls to go for that. But still, or I guess 3 to 7 wouldn't work. Maybe it'd be noon to 7. But at any rate, dude, it's awesome. It's all good times.
Johnston Brothers, how much of the live content do you guys consume?
I haven't seen any from the past 2 events, to be honest. I've been fishing tournaments. So
we didn't even get a chance to watch any of the MLF. We were out fishing on Okeechobee, practicing or in the tournament.
So, and then I haven't seen, I don't think I've watched one video on the Bassmaster just because it's been so hectic getting out of there last night and then getting down here. But I do want to take some time when I get home and go back and see some of the videos from that St. John's.
Well, what you have to do is start not catching anything, and then you'll be able to watch the finals.
Yeah. I did enough of that last year. I'm not going to do that no more.
And why is it okay for you Canadians to punch hooks through the face of our bass right now, and you can't even punch them through the face of your own because of lulls? Why is that all right?
Well, we can, but it's just walleyes, and they don't count.
What's up with that? What are you guys going to do with your newfound wealth? You going to fight some of that for your fellow Canadians?
You're talking about the closed fishing
season. Canadians cannot fish until like June something. Right?
I'll tell you right now, that's part of the reason why our fishing is so incredible where we are, because I mean the smallmouth bass spawn kind of late, and same with the largemouth, and I kind of like it. In my they're just too easy to catch as it is, let alone when they're sitting up there spawning, and you get all the people from the city that will come and keep every single one of them. So I kind of like it.
See, I always thought it was because Canada has like the population of New Jersey through the whole thing. I don't know. That's what I thought it had to do with. There's only like 300,000 of you, right?
Too. There's lakes that have never been fished probably. There's bass that still haven't seen baits, which is nice. But I think you're going to see more Canadians coming down south in the winter and competing in
Build that wall.
You're all welcome.
Build the wall north.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little worried about that. We might not be able to come down fishing here in a couple of years.
No, we allow you guys in with DWIs, but we can't go up to Canada if we were caught with a rum soda. True, what's up with that, you discriminatory? Jesus drank the wine, man.
We need Trump to come run our country for a couple of years. See how
he loves your guy. That's for sure.
Your DUI kept you out of Canada?
I never had a DUI. I should.
It's got to be. You guys got to be an inspiration to Canadians to get involved. I mean, when you go home? Is it nuts when you show up to a tournament now with all your success, or are your guys from home going crazy?
We've had a ton of support from people sending us messages, following along. There's people at trade shows. They said they had it playing in their booths, and there was a huge crowd around watching. But coming to tournaments, we got a lot of serious tournament anglers too that when we show up to the ramp, they just want to beat us. They don't necessarily want to win, but if they can say they beat us, they did something, which is great to see. I love the competitiveness, and we have a lot of good anglers that just haven't had the chance to come down to the States, whether it be expenses or work. And I think you're going to see more guys taking that chance and competing down south. So it'll be good to see.
You guys definitely are like the Tiki and Ronde Barber of Canada, because I remember hearing Ian always talk on the podcast about the Johnson brothers. So, yeah, there is something to that. I've heard. Yeah, you guys are legendary up there.
Ian West Johnston. He just changed his name.
Yeah, you're. He hyphenated his name.
He's been known.
Yeah, you guys are like Road Warrior, Hawk, and Animal up there, man.
I heard that
Alpha and Sika
got a little bet going on us too.
What's that?
I heard that Ian West and those boys have a little bet going on us too.
Oh yeah?
What's the bet?
You're gonna have to ask him, but I think it's something about whoever makes more money between the two of us, or has the most points. The other person has to go and get a signed jersey.
Come to our house.
And get a signed jersey.
Wear the other
like
person's jersey. I don't know. You have to ask him the details.
All right.
Well, with your roommates that you're traveling with, are you guys going to start growing mullets and mustaches?
I think that's all them.
That's all. They got that all covered.
Yeah, where they at? Bring them in there.
They're over here.
They're cooking burgers. I might go see how they look.
There's probably not a bag of Doritos in sight in that house with them two. There's no tasty cakes.
Doritos and Pringles.
Exactly. There's none of that around. The pretzels are gone.
Good. Fired through them all.
Empty, just empty bags laying lifeless on the ground.
Hey, Cory, you guys got some northern tournaments coming up on the schedule? You guys got any smallmouth derbies you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I can't wait to get to the St. Lawrence River. I mean, we spent a lot of time on the St. Lawrence and Lake Ontario, so I'm pretty pumped to get there.
Yeah. Think about it. They're going to go kill that tournament too, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, are you going to be going upriver like they have in the past? Are you allowed on the lake this year? What's the deal on that?
As far as I know, it's river only.
Okay.
I wish we could go out to the lake. I mean, that's kind of our bread and butter out there. We've got her pretty dialed in, but we're gonna have to figure out the river a little better. We spent some time on it, but we'll definitely be going out there in pre-practice and looking for every smallmouth we can find.
What is the deal with that place, man? Those fish got massive. We're all thinking it's the gobies, right?
Yeah. Yep. Gobies, zebra mussels, kind of a combination of everything.
Yeah. There's a scientist, Bruce Tufts, that all he does is research on the smallmouth out there at Queen's University, which is right on the water. And he's got all the data to prove it once the gobies come in. He compares the gobies to Mars bars to us. He said all they do is eat those Mars bars and they just swell up. Yeah. And he has stats on how long it takes a fish to get up to 5 pounds. And I think the quickest he's seen is maybe 10 years or even less than that to get to
8 or 10 years.
Yeah, 5 pound smallie, which you used to take 20 plus years or 20 years to get that big.
God.
Wow.
Man, that's awesome.
The strongmen should start just eating those things like sardines, dude. There's got to be something to it, right? Like as an athlete,
gobies,
just gorge a bunch of gobies and get yourself jacked. No need for roids anymore.
You might want to run after you eat all the Mars bars, though.
No, I'm talking about gobies, bro.
Straight gobies.
Eric and his friend with the recreational activities eat all the Mars bars off the shelves.
Yeah, gobies, that'd be an interesting diet plan. I think that would build the muscle. We'll see. But I know it builds them giant smallmouth. Hey, guys, we're going to let you go. I know you guys got to get up early tomorrow. Just congratulations. It was so much fun to watch you guys. I just wanted to let you know that, and congratulations on a great event. We're going to be watching the rest of the season, and wish you guys the best of luck. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us, guys. Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. See ya.
Woo! Johnston Brothers. Woo! Man.
Like them.
What a deal, man. I
like them for sure, man.
They're a lot of fun.
I'm a new fan.
That house is so casual. What a deal with with them and Chris Grow and Eel Pout Snout.
Eel Pout Snout.
Fighter.
Seth Fighter.
I don't know that.
Yeah, you do. You pop that brain cell?
You pop that brain cell.
Talking about me and the recreational activities.
I mean, all them guys are so loose. They're so easy. These guys just real calm. I mean, that's going to be so helpful to them when they're in these high pressure situations.
Because they know there's not a guy on that tour whose shirt they can't pull over his face and punch him in it 10 times before he even knows what happened.
That's going to give them.
So we don't fight that way down here.
Well, it was that was pretty cool. It was fun to watch. Awesome to watch. The great Rick Clunn get an amazing win.
How about that?
I mean, 72 years old, pulling a 34-pound stringer of fish to win the Derby.
Yeah, but he's not a normal human being. Doesn't he have like a way younger wife?
He does.
Yeah, he's a stud. He's absolutely a stud. Like, that's not a normal man, right?
He's fit. I mean, you think about
it's not
what
a
he's
normal
doing.
man.
I mean, he's out there going through the practice 12 hours a day, traveling around the country. I mean, you got to keep yourself in amazing physical condition.
Stepping up to intimidating young Canucks, stomping on his water.
Yeah.
He had no problem coming up and saying, "Hey, what's up?"
He did. He confronted him, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he's trying to intimidate the newbie.
Who, Cory?
Yeah.
Nah, Gandalf.
Oh. Yeah, he ain't intimidating Cory, dude.
No, but I'm just saying he had to go. I'm talking about how much of a stud he is coming up on the young kid. If
he attempted to.
Yeah. Thanks for making us repeat it. That's all.
I'm sorry. I was handling business back there. We do stuff.
He's coming in with that hard scarf.
That's right.
Hard scarf. What?
That hard scarf.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what they do next, and we'll be certainly watching them the rest of the year. Are we going to take a break?
You know that's right.
Okay. Well,
Q.
I don't see I see the lovely Becky Iaconelli joining us, but
Brian giving her no love
on the screen.
We're not there. We're going to our commercial. Okay. Come on.
Hey guys, we're going to be right back. We're going to be taking all your questions. We want to hear from you. What'd you think of MLF? What'd you think of FLW? What'd you think of the Bass Elites? We want to compare, contrast, trash talk. We want to see what you guys thought. So we're going to be back in just a couple minutes. We look forward to seeing you in just a little bit. We'll be back with some more Ike Live.
Hi. Today we're going chest to chest in the Dr. Squatch lather test. On that half of Mike's impressive chest, we're rubbing him down with 3 name brand bars. The result? A sad, milky film of disappointment. How's that feel, Mike? You see, Big Soap cuts corners and strips out all the sudsy goodness in order to make production cheaper. But not Dr. Squatch. Don't worry, Mike. Dr. Squatch soap retains all the natural ingredients, which creates a rich, foamy lather, leaving your skin healthy, soft, and clean. Ooh, looks like Squatch is taking over this peck party. How do you feel now, Mike? Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. When we say it lathers, it f***ing lathers. You deserve glorious lather. Take the lather challenge for yourself today.
Wheeler here with Real Snot. Been out on this pond for about an hour now. Haven't had a whole lot of luck. We've had a couple blow-ups, but not getting a lot. So we thought we would try the new Java product on this frog on the top water. It works great on jigs and other plastics, but we've noticed that when we do use it on top water, we get a trail in the water, the scent's in the water, and we're getting a lot more bites. So we're going to spray some Java all over the frog. Apply from Real Snot to the braid, get it nice and wet, and then as I reel it in, it's going to work its way through it. Okay, so now we got that scent in the water, and then we got the frog all juiced up with some Real Snot Java. Let's see what happens here. There's one. There's one. So as you can see, that scent got around in this little area, this little pocket we're fishing, and sure enough, one came up and nailed it. Small one, albeit, but hadn't caught anything since we've been here for about an hour and 10 minutes now. There's one. That's a good one too. That's a good one. Much better. Good little guy. Threw my frog. Man, they love this stuff. Right through the nose.
This time of year, I definitely recommend putting a little bit of this on your soft plastics too. There he is. Another one. Next cast. And that would be number 6. I'm addicted. I'll admit it. I'm straight addicted.
Might be bigger.
You think so?
Yeah. Feels bigger. I haven't even seen this thing yet. It doesn't want to come up. Don't break me off the rocks.
Oh, it's a... Oh!
27-incher.
He caught it. Oh my god, that's such a healthy fish. Look at this size. Put a little liquid mayhem on your crappie jig, and look where the stripers get it.
You can't even see it, man.
That might be a keeper.
Four and a half inch drop shot worm, Bama bug. Finesse jig, PB&J, give me something hard. Hey, KVD here. Now, I didn't always know this much about fishing. It's a 4-aught EWG worm hook. In fact, there was a time when I couldn't tell the difference between a jerkbait and a stickbait. But then I signed up for Mystery Tackle Box, the original monthly tackle subscription. And now I know more about fishing than I do about calculus.
And he knows a lot about calculus.
Plus, I get amazing extras like free fishing magazines. October 2016. Featured article, 4 places to throw a frog. Exclusive decals. Zombie bass. And how-to videos for all the great baits I receive. How to tune a crankbait. Is that underwater footage I smell?
I got goosebumps.
So if you're looking to develop enhanced fishing abilities like me, or you just like getting new tackle every month, go to mysterytacklebox.com and get your box today. Ooh, live minnows. Is it lunchtime already? Nature's candy.